Hey guys, well, 2015 is here, and I would love, guys, to just dive head first into all new movies and all new reaction and reviews, but I still have one bit of unfinished business from last year I still have to cover, and those of you who have been following me for years knew that this was coming. It is time to look at the best and the worst movies I have covered last year. And of course, we always start with the best. So here it is, guys, the top 5 reaction and review movies of 2014. We kick off our list with number 5, a Japanese animated film from 2006. That movie is Paprika, which I kind of thought was going to be awesome going in, specifically because it was from one of my favorite Japanese filmmakers, and that was Satoshi Kon. And I became a fan of Satoshi Kon after only seeing one movie, and I wanted to see if everything else from him was as good, and Paprika completely delivered, man. We had awesome characters, we had a fantastic story, we had beautiful, beautiful visuals, the artwork was fantastic. Guys, everything about that movie was awesome, and I have since watched it a second time, and it is still amazing. I loved everything about it, and that is why Paprika is at number 5. And speaking of Satoshi Kon, another one of his films comes in at number 4, and that was his holiday film from 2003. That movie is Tokyo Godfathers, which I watched on Netflix. And I'm still waiting for it to get a proper release over here in the US, preferably on Blu-ray. I will totally fucking buy it the moment it comes out on Blu-ray. Once more, we had awesome characters and we had beautiful artwork. We had a fantastic story. And it very quickly, guys, became my favorite Christmas movie of all time. It was such a beautiful and touching story that it actually made me feel joy, which is something I haven't felt out of any holiday film in years. The only thing which kind of sucked is that I watched it in the summer, so I then had to watch it again for Christmas, and it was still beautiful. It was still a fantastic movie. I loved every frame of it, guys. And that is why Tokyo Godfathers comes in at number 4. Number 3 is another animated film. You guys are kind of noticing a pattern here. Except this one was an animated film from Denmark, made in 2006. That movie was Princess. Holy shit, guys, Princess, I had no clue what the hell I was getting into with that one. I had never watched a Danish film in my life. I didn't know what kind of movies they made over in Denmark, and if Princess is anything to go by, they make awesome movies over in Denmark. Once more, we had a very, very powerful story, a very dark story, too. And it was just so fucking awesome, guys. I loved everything about Princess, except for the ending is such a massive, massive downer that I can almost guarantee you it is going to ruin the film for some. However, when your story is that dark for that long, you almost have to expect a really downer, sad ending, and that is exactly what we got. Princess was a legendarily awesome film, and I'm trying to remember where I put my DVD of it, because I really want to watch it again. It was that great. And because it was that awesome, Princess clocks in at number 3. Number 2, spoiler warning, is the only non-animated film on this list. It was a sci-fi film from 2011. That movie was Real Steel, which basically was Rocky meets Rock'em Sock'em Robots, and it was an amazing film. And the only real problem I had with it is the fact that over the first half hour or so, Jackman could not keep a single accent for his character, where he, at certain points, he sounds kind of sort of Aussie, and then at other points he sounds like he's from Boston. At other points he sounds like he's from Jersey. He could not nail a fucking accent until about a half an hour in. And then when he was finally able to pick one accent and stick with it, his character actually benefited from it, because then his character felt a little bit more real. The story here was great. Special effects were awesome. The story was fantastic. It was a really good road film involving a father, a son, and a fighting, robot. It was really just a great story. I loved it. I have since watched it I've watched it like 2 more times since. It is still a fantastic movie. Real Steel comes in at number 2. And the number 1 film, the best movie I watched last year for reaction and review, was a 2.5-hour comic book epic from 2013. I'm of course talking about Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, which was based on my favorite Batman comic book of all time, and it was a fantastic adaptation. And what few changes they made actually kind of benefited the story. Everything there was awesome. We had fantastic acting, and Peter Weller instantly jumped in and became my favorite Batman actor of all time with his fantastic performance as Batman in that film. In fact, I loved it so much. I would love it if Warner Brothers would take the slightly questionably bad sequel that Frank Miller wrote to the Dark Knight Returns and make that into a movie too. Because, okay, yes, it is nowhere near as good as The Dark Knight Returns, but it's still decent. I mean, it still is. I mean, I guys loved it so much, I would love to see the sequel made into a movie, and the sequel was kind of shit. I mean, and it's simply because I want to see Weller as Batman more, and it seems to work best when we're dealing with Frank Miller's writing. And if we had to pick between the Dark Knight, what the hell was the sequel called? The Dark Knight Strikes Again or something like that, or All-Star Batman and Robin, I think almost everybody would rather see Strikes Again than they want to see All-Star get made. But guys, right back onto topic. I loved the Dark Knight Returns. I thought it was a fantastic movie. I've watched it at least 3 more times since. In fact, I loved it so much, I'm going to tell you guys right now, coming up this year for reaction and review, I have an entire month dedicated to DC Comics animated films. All of that spurned by the strength of that one movie. There has never been a case, guys, where a single movie has prompted me to make an entire theme month. That is something powerful. And because that movie is so fantastic, Batman: The Dark Knight Returns prominently stands at number 1 on this year's top 5 list. It was by far the best thing I watched all year last year. I loved it then, and I love it now. I also loved the other 4 in the top 5. In fact, I wound up liking a lot of movies last year. Last year, guys, was a good year for films, because I saw some great stuff, and it was really hard for me to whittle it down to these 5. However, though, when I really sat down and I started thinking about it, these 5 just kind of sort of rose up a little bit higher amongst the crop of awesome movies I covered. Now, guys, that I've covered the top 5 best, tomorrow you guys are going to get to see me take a look at the other side of the coin when I cover the 5 worst movies I covered last year. But I'm not going to tell you about that until tomorrow. So guys, until then, take care, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.